Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC. This one, the Stormers taking on Glasgow. Now, we did see the Stormers played Munster last week. The Glasgow Warriors, they took on the Sharks. Those two sides switching opponents. And now we get to see a quarterfinal rematch from last year's URC competition. Looking through at the starting lineup for the Stormers, and it is absolutely stacked from start to finish. Brock Harris, Andre Hugo Fente, and Frans Malherbe, the Springbok, in that number 3 jersey. JD Schikkeling, I should say, at number 4. I messed up his name last week. And Ruben van Heeren at number 5. Marcel Tennyson at 6, with Ben Jason Dixon partnering with him in the loose forward trio. And then Kiki Morabi as the number 8. Paul de Vet and Mani Libok, the 19 combination. Now, we did not see Mani Libok last week up against Munster, but we do get to see him for this game up against Glasgow. Damien Valimza takes on the number 12 jersey with Dan du Plessis on his outside. Then Lillian Zas Aruan now out on the other wing. And then number 15, it is Warakalant. Looking through at this Glasgow Warriors side, in terms of their starting lineup, it will be Jamie Butty, Johnny Matthews, and then also Talakai as the number 3. Brown and Gray will be the locking duo, with Matt Fagerson, Rory Darge, and Jack Dempsey slotting in as number 8. George Horn and Adam Hastings, the 19 combination. Sione Tuipulotu, of course, bringing that dangerous ball running in at number 12, with Hugh Jones on his outside at number 13. Kyle Rowe, Consigliere, and Josh Mackay at number 15. So those are the starting lineups. You may have noticed I tried to change the lighting during that introduction because the light was flickering for some reason, and it still is. So we might as well turn that light straight back on. But looking through at the way that the table sits currently in the URC, things are heating up. Leinster, top of the bunch, sitting 5 from 5. The Bulls, they are sitting 4 wins, 1 loss. And the Lions, they are sitting 4 wins from 4. Now, the relevance of that is Leinster and the Lions, they are going to be playing a little bit later on tonight. And that is going to be a very entertaining game because both sides are undefeated and someone will then not be at the end of that matchup. Currently, the Stormers, they are sitting 2 wins, 2 losses. They have had a couple decent games, but at the same time, I feel like they've let a couple matches slip. So they want to find that consistency. And the big thing is, this is the last game before December for a lot of these sides. So you have to make sure you're going out there, you're putting in a good effort, and you're getting a few more points, working your way up the table, because at the end of the day, at the end of this weekend, you cannot change your position on the table till the end of November, like I said. So, at the moment, the way that it sits, Glasgow Warriors, they are sitting 3 wins, 2 losses. They did lose last week, but they had a valiant fight back up against the Sharks, managing to get themselves 2 points from that fixture. If they were to win this game, they have the chance of sitting either 2nd or 3rd at the end of this round. If the Stormers win this game, they can actually boost their way all the way up to 6th if they get themselves a bonus point win. That might be quite tricky to do up against the Glasgow Warriors, something that the Sharks couldn't quite do in their last game. We have got Juan Pierre Bosch in the chat as said, go the Stormers. And I feel like the Stormers have got a lot of support for this game. I did see the poll just before, and about 80% of people backing the Stormers to win this game. Now, when these two sides faced in the quarterfinals last year for the URC, it did not quite go that way. It was a Glasgow Warriors win, and they eventually became URC champions. They have got a strong team heading onto the field here. It's just whether or not they can gel a little bit earlier than they did in the last week's fixture, because up against the Sharks, they struggled, but then in the last kind of maybe 10-15 minutes, it seemed like they had a chance of being able to win that game. But they couldn't quite get over the line in the moments when it important, or was more important, which was a little bit earlier on in that second half. Looking at the reserves for the Stormers, it is Joseph de Weber, the man who throws more line-outs, not straight, then straight. Leon's also in the front row, and Nedeling Fouché as the number 18, Adre Smith and Willie Engelbrecht, the other 2 forward replacements, with Nell Yankees is back for the Stormers once again, and Hudson Berg at number 23. So Lillian Zas and Ruan now the 2 that they went with out on the wings, which then meant Hudson Berg will come off the reserves bench. For Glasgow, Rory Sutherland, Xander Fagerson, 2 handy enough individuals out there on the field. Tom Jordan, look for him later on in the game. And of course, Henko Fente, he had a bit of a push and a shove with Eben Etzebeth last week. Expect some physicality from that man later on as well. Looking through at the recent fixtures for these two sides. For the Stormers, they were able to beat Zebre 36 points to 35. They were then defeated by Edinburgh 38 points to 7. And then last week, getting themselves the win 34 points to 19 over Munster. That was a very significant win and a step in the right direction for the Stormers outfit, and they'd love nothing more than to make it 2 in a row up against the Northern Hemisphere sides. For the Glasgow Warriors, they beat Cardiff 52 points to 36. They were able to beat Zebre quite comfortably 33 points to 3. And then in their game last week up against the Sharks, a valiant comeback, but they were still 4 points short, 28 points to 24. Although, fun fact from that game, Glasgow got themselves the try-scoring bonus point, whereas the Sharks, they did not. They only got themselves the 3 tries in that last contest. We've got in the chat as well, where can we watch it live, mate? Says Sabine, it does depend a little bit where you are in the world. If you're in South Africa, I think your only real option is Super Sport. URC TV is a great application that you can look at, though, in terms of being able to watch some games, but they are unfortunately behind having to pay for them. And then if you're in New Zealand, you can actually watch it on TVNZ Plus, and that's completely free. So if you have the option of a VPN setting yourself to New Zealand, I would highly recommend doing that. Hi, Hamish and company. Hit the like and sub, folks. Says Bystander and Stellenbosch. As my hometown, I played a school rugby game on the same field the game is on today. Well, there you go. And I hope you visit Stellenbosch in the future, champ, says Juan Pierre Bosch. I'd absolutely love to head to South Africa at some point. I do think it would be probably in a couple years' time. I don't think it will be anytime soon, just because if I was to go over, I would want to make the absolute most of it, involving, going to as many stadiums as I can and getting to spend a good little while there, like at least a few weeks. But one day, hopefully we can plan some sort of South African trip. I should mention, for anyone wondering, the game is about 8 minutes away from kicking off. We are getting closer and closer, which is very exciting. Stormers, you can do it, says Margaret. And that's the thing, the Stormers, I have to say, for a side that has struggled a little bit for consistency in just the last little while, they have got a huge amount of support from South Africans, which is absolutely awesome to see. And it's going to be interesting to see where they do finish in the overall standings, just because they've got so much potential. They've got a great squad. It's just whether or not they can put it all together in these big, important games and, maybe come URC champs. At the end of the day, they've done it before, and they can do it again. All they need is just that little bit of consistency, a little bit of luck to go their way, and a couple great performances at home for this stage of the URC. Stormers 18-3 is Joshua Miller's prediction. Probably not a bad one. I think that Glasgow, though, with the way that they're able to attack and counter-attack in particular, I think we will see them score at least one try in this game, just from watching them up against the Sharks. The Sharks were very defensively sound throughout that last game, and then all of a sudden, we just see that side, in terms of Glasgow, switch up to the next gear, and then they score try after try and cause some real problems for the opposition. So I would like to see it be relatively close going down to the wire, but I could see both of these sides getting a bonus point here for scoring 4 or more tries, just because the Stormers, they have a lot of try-scoring ability out there on the field. Same with Glasgow, though. They are no slouches when it comes to away games and at the URC. And speaking about away games, the next time we see these two sides in action, it is actually a pretty long time. When we get to international rugby, the URC pauses, and we don't get to see any matches taking place for the URC competition. So the next games that are taking place after this round of the competition are actually going to be on November 30th. And I should also mention, the next game that we see a South African side in action will actually be December 1st. Now, that is going to be at 4 a.m, and I believe that that is actually on the same time as Ireland versus Australia is taking place. But it will be Sharks versus Stormers. Connacht will be taking on the Bulls in the game following, and then Munster will be playing the Lions in the game after that. So it's a little while until we get to see South African sides, in fact, all sides of the URC in action for Glasgow. Their next game will be on the 30th of November, which is actually going to be the 29th of November, I believe, for you guys in South Africa and whatnot, and that is up against the Scarlets. So that is 34 days away when we get to see the next round of the URC. Ulster 19 says Joshua Miller. I should also mention that there are plenty of other games taking place of the URC today. We are covering Sharks versus Munster. That is kicking off in 2 hours, 20 minutes time. But Ospreys versus Edinburgh is actually kicking off at the exact same time. And then later on today, Leinster versus Lions. That one's going to be an entertaining one to definitely watch out for. And then Connacht taking on the Dragons alongside Cardiff versus Ulster. 2 other games that are also going to be taking place. But the kickoff is right on the verge of happening, ladies and gents. Under 5 minutes away. Coverage will be kicking off here in New Zealand in about 1 minute, so we will be able to see the conditions. Although, of course, the atmosphere is always there when the Stormers are playing. And I feel like their win over Munster last week, I feel like that helped, I guess, convince a few more people to head to the games, give the Stormers that little bit more support. They've got Mani Libok in that number 10 jersey. Of course, a lot of Springbok supporters going to be watching this game closely to see how that man does, seeing as he has been selected once again in the November internationals, alongside Damian Valimza, who is actually playing at 12 for this game, and then a couple of the other players in international kits. We've got Frans Malherbe, who is there as the number 3. Then also, I mean, there's a couple right on the verge of selection if there are injuries. We saw Ben Jason Dixon get quite a few opportunities for the Springboks recently, although now that we see the returns of Franco Moster, Arge Snyman, what do you make of Peter Lakai performance, Hamish? We didn't really see a lot of him, to be honest, but then saying that there weren't many players for the All Blacks throughout that last little while that actually did step up, which sounds a little bit harsh, but it unfortunately is the case. You know, once again, the All Blacks were disappointing in the last 20 minutes. And if it wasn't for those couple tries at the end by Ruben Love, it would have only been 7 points throughout the whole second half for the ABs as well. But they are just showing there the beautiful mountains in the background. Stormers fans are the only real fan base in South Africa. This was the case during Super Rugby as well. Says Grant. Yeah, it looks like an absolute atmosphere and an absolute picture in the background. Now, this is not the regular Cape Town Stadium, I should clarify, even though I have got it behind me. It's just that this is the stadium that I always have for Stormers home games, even when they aren't quite at the same stadium. But yeah, it looks like a decent crowd has turned up for this game. I'll be hoping to see some great action. Stormers versus Glasgow. Anytime these two sides have faced off in the URC, it's normally a pretty entertaining game. And I don't think this one will be any different. In fact, I think we've spoiled for the matches that we've got today. The fact that we get 3 games back-to-back, which are all-out action, involving South African sides in the Northern Hemisphere. But in Stellenbosch for this game, Stormers will want a big win over the Glasgow Warriors. Looking through at the starting lineups once again for these two sides, they are as follows. For the Stormers, it is Brock Harris in the front row alongside Andre Hugo Venter and Frans Malherbe. JD Schikkeling as the number 4 and Ruben van Heeren sorting in at 5. Marcel Tennyson, Ben Jason Dixon and Kiki Morabe will be the loose forward trio. Paul de Vet and Mani Libok, an interesting 9-10 combination that we have seen in the past but not for a little while. Damian Valimza moves to 12 and Dan du Plessis at number 13. So once again, Valimza showing off his versatility, and I think that a perfect position for him in that Springbok side would be number 23. The fact that he can cover 10, he can cover 12, he can cover 15 and there as well. It also benefits the Springboks for that 6-2 split that we see them go with quite a bit. In the rest of the back line, it is Lillian Zas out on one wing, Ruan now out on the other, and then Warwick Hallant at number 15. For the Glasgow Warriors, Jamie Butty, Johnny Matthews, and then in the front row also it is Sam Talakai, Brown and Richie Gray in the locking duo with Ferguson, Rory Darge and Jack Dempsey. Those three have to bring physicality to the Stormers side, because with Morabi, with Tennyson and Dixon, we are going to see the Stormers try and push that ball forward, run it hard and create line break opportunities for their side. George Horn and Adam Hastings will be the 9-10 combo with Sione Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones in the midfield. I think that those two are absolutely crucial for the way that this Glasgow Warriors side plays. Kyle Rowe out on one wing, Consigliere out on the other, and then Josh Mackay at number 15. The last 20 minutes looked disjointed. Then the last 20 minutes, this was a new team. Once they click, this AB side are going to be world beaters. And I was impressed with Ruben Love, says Manny M, and all that's going to beat England next week, says Manny M. Like, I'll be honest, like, Ruben Love, don't get me wrong, 2 tries on debut was great, but I also don't think he did that much, if that makes sense. Like, it sounds really harsh to say, because at the end of the day, he was on debut and he scored 2 tries, but like, he only touched the ball a couple times. He did score off them, but they were nice open opportunities, and I do think that there is a lot more that we will be able to see from that man at international level. But if you were looking through and you were looking at the players who deserve 2 tries from the way that they played, like, I don't think I'd have Ruben Love that high on the list, if that makes sense. Like, there are a lot of guys out there on the field who I feel could have got doubles before he did. But that's taken nothing away from how he went. Come on, the Scots, says Kyle there. What is your score prediction for this game? Do let me know, Kyle. Both sides have made their way out onto the field. They will be fired up for this contest, because having some extra points before the break in the competition would be absolutely massive. Who are the favourites? The Stormers? They are indeed, yes, for this contest. Although the Glasgow Warriors always like to keep it quite close in the betting odds, seeing as they are the defending champions. Although getting defeated by the Sharks last week didn't help their odds for this contest. Raja should start with Lakai next week against England. Like, normally I would agree, but I do also think that Sam Cane did quite well. Like, yes, there was one defensive error from Cane, but I honestly do think I would start him up against England, which is completely different to what I'd normally say. I'd normally go with Peter Lakai, but just, like, based off the game up against Japan, I think Sam Cane looked like the more safe option. The question is, who do they start at 6? Because if Savi is your 8, do you go with Satiti or do you go with Sama Penifine? But nonetheless, we are underway, ladies and gentlemen. The Glasgow Warriors in the white and blue kit, and the Stormers, they are wearing that black, and that is the first charge down of the day already. Stormers back in possession after kicking off. Marnie Libok goes across to Watakalam. Thought about the offload to Dan Duplessis, but can't quite find it. Only 20 seconds in already. Both sides wanting to start this match quickly. Imagine Savia, Wallace and Lakai playing together, the Magic 3. Says Manny M. We have got the Arya said, hello, do you remember me? I certainly do. It's been a while. Anyway, hope you're keeping well. Oh, that's going to be a great turnover early on from the Glasgow Warriors. Managing to get over. Did you see New Zealand-India match? I did. New Zealand doing extremely well 2 weeks in a row up against India. Managing to not just pull off the first win in India for New Zealand in 30 plus years, but now doing it twice in a row is absolutely massive. AB should beat England. England hasn't played for a while, says Sakabula, and that is one thing that will really benefit New Zealand. And hopefully they can put it together a little bit stronger than they did in their last match, just because there were a few errors, mainly handling, that were hurting New Zealand. My stream's growing up, says no, Mum. I think everyone's is, unless it is just TVNZ that is having the problem at the moment, but hopefully the coverage will come back very soon. Of course, they are in Stellenbosch for this game rather than Cape Town Stadium, but currently the Glasgow Warriors. It's not straight throw. Not getting it right there, Johnny Matthews, which does mean that the Stormers will have the option of either going for the scrum or the line out, and I believe the best option here for them will be the scrum. And yeah, Johnny Matthews not quite getting that one in straight. So about 22 metres out from their line now. Stormers have got the scrum feed. Both of these sides, they know how to score tries off set pieces, which is why it's so entertaining when they get this ball. Definitely only about 22 metres out from the line. The pack weights are pretty similar, only 3 kgs difference, and that 3 kg advantage in favour of the Stormers with 935. Andrew Brace, all set, and there's a knee down. In fact, there's much more than a knee down. There's a whole player down in the middle of that scrum. I think that was Johnny Matthews, and got flattened out in the middle. Not exactly what you want for the first scrum of the day. Now, the scrum between the All Blacks and Japan was actually relatively solid throughout the match. We saw some nice competitiveness, not a lot of movement at scrum time. I also can't think of a scrum reset. And now that I think about it, we've already had one in the first 3 minutes of this matchup. But it is, of course, the first of 3 games that we are covering on the channel. The second one, Sharks versus Munster, and then followed by Lions versus Leinster. Black Ferns will be good in 2025. There's Manny M. There is a possibility. I think that all sides, though, go through their ups and downs. And the Black Ferns, they were on a little bit of a down, you could say. But they'll fight back. Now this time it is going to be Glasgow who have been penalised at scrum time. Means now Mani Libok will be able to kick this one towards the touchline. Get some decent distance downfield for the Stormers. Just said there, Jamie Butty, it was actually his elbow which then caused the momentum to shift for the Glasgow Warriors front row. Collapsing under the pressure when you're going up against Brock Harris and also Franz Malharba. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of tension at scrum time. It's going to be thrown in by Andre Hugo Fenta, goes straight to his target, Ben Jason Dixon for Limsa. Straightens with this run on the halfway line. Paul de Vet going for the kick in behind. Not quite a 50-22 attempt, and he's kicked it out on the full. It is a big mistake from the Stormers halfback. Got a little bit too much on the kick. We're going to see it here. How much did it go out? Oh, it went out by maybe half a metre, if not a little bit less than that for Paul de Vet. So a bit of a mistake from the Stormers. Now Johnny Matthews, once again, not throwing that one very straight, but the referee allows him to have that one. Sione Tuipulotu, flat run straight at Lebok, who gets him round the bootlaces. Now to the left-hand side, Josh Mackay, skip pass on the outside. Johnny Matthews goes to Kyle Rowe with some nice stepping. Tried to milk the penalty there for George Horn. Referee was having absolutely none of it. Now back across Horn. Goes to Daj, who is flattened by this Stormers defence, who once again holds strong. Now kicked him behind, almost kicked out on the full, that time by the Glasgow Warriors, but it's just bounced. Are you going to cover the rugby league match between New Zealand Kiwis and the Kangaroos tomorrow? Possibly not. I'm not sure what the plan is completely yet, but I will possibly be away with the other Kiwi lads. Because pretty much after the Lions Leinster stream, I'm going to be sleeping for 3 hours and then we're heading up the road to go to a golf simulator, I believe is the plan. So that'll be interesting. Off 3 hours of sleep, that'll either go really good or really bad. I would say go for a bonus win, Stormers. Says Desmond, where are Glasgow from? Where are Glasgow from? Oh, as in like the country, I assume? Scotland, yep. For this Glasgow Warriors side. Now that one's going to be kicked into touch by Lilian Zas. Looks like he may have got a little bit of a shot in afterwards. Hello, Hamish. Brandon is back on Kiwi Lads Chat. Says Brandon, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Oh, yeah, that one, I don't think he really meant to hit him that badly, Hugh Jones. It was just a perfect shot into the ribs. They're saying he'll be okay, but he is lying down and he is not happy at all, Lilian Zas. I think he got winded by that shot. He did not look good at the moment, while Stormers should win. Says Novum, yeah, both of these sides actually have won the URC before. Glasgow winning it last year, the Stormers winning it in its inaugural season. Both very talented sides. Glasgow currently sitting 3 wins, 2 losses. Stormers sitting 2-2. So actually really even when it comes to the stats from this season. Nice short ball from Sione Tuipulotu. Now Hugh Jones. Ball's on the inside. Goes to George Horn, and it's going to be knocked on by Jack Dempsey. Now the ball back into the hands of the Stormers. And Kiki Morabi will look to make a couple metres. Advantage is now over for the knock-on. Paul de Vet. Back across to Ruben van Heeren. Back into the pocket again. De Vet finds a Damien Valimza. He will look for the kick of his own. He's got way too much of that unless it bounces nicely. It's in the in-goal area, still going, and looks like they are going to claim this one. And then they do force it down. That is Adam Hastings at number 10 for this game, rather than Tom Jordan, who they did have last week. Hello, Hamish, says Margaret. Welcome in, Margaret. You are keeping well. Hope you're excited for once again another week of the URC. It's actually the last week for about 35 days of the URC during the Rugby International window in November. We don't get to see any URC sides playing, but we will get to see the players from these sides in international kits for Scotland and South Africa. Goal line dropout goes to about 30 metres out. Dan Duplessis tackled well. A big run forward from Andre Hugo Fenta. Shot coming in from Sam Talakai. Almost ended up tackling 2 men in 1 tackle attempt. Little grubber in behind now. And having a look back for that one. Nice skills here from Glasgow. Keep the ball alive. They're only 5 metres out from their line. Almost stolen by Ruan Nel. Now being told to use it. Still very close to their own try line here, though, Glasgow. They will look to clear it. I had college for a long time, so I was not able to come to your stream. Says, yep, well, it is great to have you back now, and hopefully college has been going well for you. Yes, I normal in bed sleep, but I checked in with my old mates, and Mum changed his image, lol. Her image, Brandon. Now, nice clearing kick from George Horn. Relieves a little bit of the pressure, but it does feel like the Stormers are right on the verge of being able to bust through and get themselves a try of some sort. They've been busy so far, and they have had a couple big runs up the middle, although probably the best run has gone to Glasgow in this contest so far. Now Andre Hugo Fenta ready to throw this ball in for the Stormers. Oh, double blow of the whistle from Andrew Brace. Hamish, how fast can you chug a beer? Not very fast. I'm not very good at chugging fizzy liquids, which I don't know whether or not that's like a good thing or a bad thing. I guess it's a good thing because, you know, it's a lot of carbonation. Now Ruben van Heeren claims the line out. Paul de Vet cross to Valimza. Again, another good tackle on him by Rory Dash. Now, I should mention, Scotland versus South Africa is a match we are going to see for the Northern Hemisphere contest in November. That is another penalty going against the Stormers, this time in off the feet, sealing off, going against Marcel Tennyson. Glasgow, they will be able to kick this one towards the touchline. Adam Hastings, the man in charge of kicking today. Just mentioned there how well Glasgow are defending. Last week they were tackling at about a 90%. And the fact that they were tackling that high and the Sharks still managed to bust through 3 times, score themselves 28 points, is really impressive. Hello from Kazakhstan. Again, mate, regards Jonathan. Says Jonathan Fraser there. Hope you are keeping well, mate. What's the weather like in Kazakhstan at the moment, Jonathan? I'm not actually too sure what season it would be. That's a good run from Rory Dash. Moves up to the halfway line for the Glasgow Warriors to the left-hand side. Little pop pass up to Sam Talakai. In fact, it's Jamie Butty this time. George Horn. Oh, big shot on Josh McKay. Halfway line. Both sides defending very well early on. Gregor Brown makes another couple. And this looks like Horn will set up for another kick here. Goes high. Jason Dixon tried to charge it down, couldn't quite get it. Nicely claimed by Mani Lebok, just outside of the Stormers. 22 to Vet, going across to the left-hand side. What a Kalance, set up for the kick, but instead passes to Valimza. Now Lilian Zas has got a bit of space to work with. Great step ball on the outside to Dan Duplessis, but they've ruled it as forward. That's unlucky. And good things, lots of rain now going into winter. Had snow last week, says Jonathan. We're actually getting snow here in New Zealand at the moment, and I think we're in spring. So I was quite surprised by that, but yeah, apparently the weather's being a bit weird here in New Zealand. So possibly a little bit similar. That pass was not forward. I thought it was actually all right, to be honest with you, Grant. They just showed the replay, but my eyes weren't really focused on it, which they probably should have been. But yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. In fact, that's why I groaned. I don't often make a habit of groaning randomly, but that one got me too. Hello all, says Juckles, you've got me here. I'm trying to work out where, is that all one word, or is there like a split somewhere? Jackal Severald, maybe? Jackal Severald, is that how you'd say that, hopefully? I'm really sorry if I've mispronounced that badly. Weather in Northland is raining and some lightning early. First time listener here. You're the man. Bro doing an all-nighter, says Harmony. We are indeed. Next game, Sharks versus Munster. And then the game after that, Leinster versus the Lions. So plenty of action coming up. We're also going to be doing a lot of all-nighters throughout the November internationals, covering many games of international rugby. And I love your Afrikaans, says Jonathan there. Same weather here. Mother Nature is angry with us. Well, I think we've had about 30 mils of rain already in just the last 24 hours, which is nice. I'm sure somewhere needed some rain, maybe not quite that much all at once. Jackalsville. Well, that would make more sense, actually. Now that I look at it, Mrs. Grant, says Gareth there. Now going off to the left-hand side. Oh, good run from Tui Piloto. Gets the offload to Hugh Jones. Has George Horn with him, but he didn't decide to use him. Said offloads it up. Hastings goes to the left-hand side. This is class, but that is a really poor bit of play from Josh Mackay, who puts the ball down and halts the momentum of the attack. Hello from South Africa, says Christo. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Do let me know your score predictions as well, anyone who is just tuning in now. Going off to the right-hand side. Another big run from Brown. Can they bust through here, the Glasgow Warriors? They had the perfect chance, but the ball just got put down. And we have got, how's it, Hamish? Can tell here, are you here in Stellenbosch? It's quite hot, no wind to speak of. I'd rather listen to you than sit at the stadium. Thanks for the commentary, says Clinton. Well, I do thank you very much for being here. It does look like the pitch is relatively dry at the moment, just from the looks of it. I didn't see that, says Grant. While Durban is rainy and cold, says Gareth there. Oh, and that's going to be the next game, isn't it? Sharks versus Munster being played in Durban. Another good attacking run from Gregor Brown, landed on his face. Wouldn't want to make a habit of that. Hastings goes back across now to Hugh Jones. Oh, he's almost gone straight through. In fact, he's got back up to his feet and he's gone again till Labok was able to drag him down. Counter-ruck coming from the Stormers and the advantage for the player leaving his feet. Hastings with the skip pass goes to Tui Piloto. Inside ball. This is great hands from Glasgow. Managing to keep the ball alive. Johnny Matthews showing off some of his quick stepping. Only 10 metres out from the line now, still under penalty advantage. Hastings, great ball to Brown. Oh, he didn't offload it to the right man, found Paul DeVette. And it's going to go back for the penalty 120 minutes final. But what game? But weather doesn't help, says Brandon. That is, of course, for the NPC final. Hello, watching from Vrendenval. I don't know why I want to put a V there in the middle. The Rendendal? Is that how you'd say that? The Rendendal? Maybe, hopefully. Hello, Jenny. Hope you're keeping well. Been a while since we had a test match stream, says Gareth. That's true. When was probably the last round of the Rugby Championship? Maybe? Yeah. We'll go with that anyway. I think Argentina, South Africa would have been the last one. It's not nice, Gareth. 14 and a half minutes in, Glasgow have decided to kick for the corner here. See whether or not they can get a rolling maul going. Johnny Matthews. And a couple mistakes getting ready, says Elroy there. And pronounce Friedendal. Ah, there you go. No, Hamish proper test match. Oh, for cricket, sorry. Yeah, that's true, actually. I don't know how the chat would have been with the two that India have lost to New Zealand. I feel like those might have been a bit of tension. I'm actually going to be going to Black Caps versus England, though, in Christchurch. So that's quite cool. All stolen from the Stormers. Now Paul DeVette into the pocket. Oh, Brock Harris having a bit of a handling error, but Ruben van Heeren is there to clean it up. Already a sub has had to be made. That was number 21, I believe. Start watching scary videos now. If you think you got something in your office, if you want sacred or scary, you should play Five Guys at Freddy's 4. You know, I'm terrible at horror games. Like, I bought... Oh, that's a good shot. So it was back when we were just a gaming channel, like 4 years ago. I bought a whole heap of Halloween games. Never played them because I'm no good at jump scares or anything. Like, I swear my own shadow jump scares me half the time. It's going to be kicked downfield from Glasgow. 30 metres out from the line. Watakalant goes to Mani Lebok. He decides to have a bit of a run and beautiful. Straight through everyone. He's been hit in the head though. That was a bit harsh. Now Hastings will go for the kick of his own. The crowd not happy about Mani Lebok being taken out, but a fantastic run from him before being taken out there. Now Watakalant inside of the 22. Not the cleanest kick that he's ever had, but it will make a few metres. A storm is on its way tomorrow in Cape Town. Fake news, Durban is not rainy and cold, says Andre there. How's it, Hamish? Says Henry, welcome in, mate. Andre, it is looking outside now, says Gareth. I guess it might depend on what part of Durban you're from. I'm gonna do a quick Google because, of course, Google is honest. Is it raining in Durban? I mean, to be fair, my phone does say 0% chance of rain in Durban, 20 degrees at the moment. But that could depend on where it is in Durban, you know. And Mani Lebok, he has got back to his feet, which is great to see. It's never cold in Durban, says Grant. Listening from Namibia, says Chris. Okay, rainy, more threatening to rain, says Gareth. And then nicely taken by Paul DeVette. Already, JD Schickerling going off to the left-hand side. Once again, a miscommunication there. It's going to be a good shot coming in. I used being suckered at horror games, but as you know with my gaming channel, I just got used to it. Now I use jump. Here's Brandon. Now kick downfield. Oh, knock on from Glasgow. What a Calant. Manages to bump off one. Puts a round the back pass. Across to the right-hand side now. Mani Lebok going to sink the slipper into it down the middle of the park. Into Glasgow's 22. Plenty of time here for Kyle Rowe to return with a kick of his own. Does get it into touch. It's actually a very good kick. What a Calant. Does he want to take it quickly? He does not. It's a very good kick from Kyle Rowe. Durban is currently 22 degrees. That's quite nice, isn't it, in terms of heat? I think this one at Stellenbosch is probably about the same, maybe a little bit more. How was the game so far? I had to return to work for a bit. So far, it's been fast-paced, but neither side have looked like... It's a tricky one because they've had a lot of good play round halfway, but it seems to be when each side gets into the 22, like they haven't quite been able to cross that try line. And I think that is down to the opposition defence, as well as a couple little handling errors. That wasn't straight from Andre Higofenta there. I forgot how to talk for a second when I was trying to explain that. It's 19 according to the thermometer. And full cloud outside. So here's Gareth. Yeah, not the best throw there. Heat in Stellenbosch is very different to Durban heat, says Grant. I'm 3 kilometres away from the stadium and can tell you the crowd is very vocal, says Clinton. We have got the question, Hamish. Can we get another 120-minute game of rugby? Probably not for these ones. We'd need a special occasion type of game to get bonus time of 20 minutes. Plus, a lot of competitions have 20 minutes as only for a final or something along those lines, rather than the, just regular season games. Must be my spelling making it slip up. No, I think it's just my brain not working, if we're being honest. The Bulls showed some pride last night. Yeah, they did really well to get the win because Benetton, they were in that game. And, any win's a win. But I think that the Bulls, they'll look at that one and go, we might have got a little bit lucky that we were able to hold on. But then that's a good trait to have, to be able to win a game that you're up against it rather than losing close games. Sione Tuipulotu, that was a terrible kick from Hastings. He ended up getting pretty much charged down straight away. Matt Fagerson, he will have a carry. A lot more possession going the way of the Glasgow Warriors as of late. Jack Dempsey in behind to Hastings. Wide cut-out pass. Has to wait for it to bounce into his hands there. Kyle Rowe, but shows off some of his speed as he moves towards that 22, getting over the ball, but wasn't quite able to hang on to it long enough to get the penalty advantage. Dempsey goes back across the horn. Hastings. Now Fagerson flops over. Richie Gray tackled well. Yeah, neither side really at all budging defensively. And by Hamish are going to sleep now. Hope you do sleep well, Brandon. The Black Cats just made history in India. Rejoice. Yeah, 2 wins in a row when they hadn't won in India for 30 plus years is massive for the Black Caps. And out of all the players to do it, Mitchell Satner, he was added into the team. Everyone went, why are they doing that? And then he goes and gets 13 wickets. I'm in Durban and I have a weather station. There's Andre. Well, I think Gareth asked where in Durban you were, rather than just in Durban. It's getting cool now with the clouds, says William Moses. Currently 25 metres out from the line. Another attack and run there from Marcel Tennyson. Paul DeVette goes to Mani Lebok. Putting the up and under across the field. 22 minutes into this contest already. Well claimed by Glasgow. Managing to pass it back across Hastings. Goes to Sione Tuipulotu. Off to Matthews. Loves trying the spin when he's running with the ball. Kikimorabi. I think they were trying to get him penalised for not rolling away, but the ball was available. Good flat ball to Josh McKay. Great defence, though, from Damien Valimza. Two sides at the moment so even. Sione Tuipolotu puts it on the outside to Kyle Rowe. He'll kick it on the inside. And the bounce is favourable for Mani Libok. Manages to step round one. Puts the offload over the top to Watakallant. They're trying to ask for the... What was that from Hallant? He's just passed it straight into the player who was well in front of him. Talakai flicks it out the back door. I don't know whether or not there's any advantages. There's the sound of... The ref just asked, was he offside there? I don't know who that's to do with. But the foot race is being won by Lillian Zas. And he scored the try. Right, there was a lot to break down there, definitely in the early stages. First of all, I believe that Watakallant knocked that ball on, or at least tried to pass it into a man in front of him. I have no idea what that pass attempt was, but I think he's got very lucky here. I think it's going to, we aren't going to go far enough back to see it, but whatever it was a monstrosity of a play, but he got very lucky that they managed to regain their structure, and then from there, Lilian Zas winning the foot race and managing to kick that ball forward and score it for the Stormers. What the hell was that try? Pure chaos, says Grant. And good morning from Colombia. Stormers should win, says Outlaw. We got Julia Moses with some emojis in the chat as well. Right, I think they've cleared everything in that one. So the Stormers, they will be more than happy to be the first team on the score sheet. It is Lilian Zas. Oh, hang on. Okay, time is off. Now they're checking the TMO. It's back in the 22. I don't know what accent that is. I think he's probably Irish, the TMO, but I did not do an Irish accent. Yeah, they're looking at the inside ball attempt from Watakallant. Whatever it was a very ugly looking pass. Very lucky but good try, staying in till the end. Right, here it is. Well, it's hit. No, that's the knock on there, I believe. Yeah, that one. So this one, it almost became a deliberate knockdown from the Glasgow player, but he managed to regather it. So there's then a knock on there for Watakallant after the knock-on from Glasgow. So I think it's going to be a knock-on to a knock-on, which should be a scrum fee for for the Stormers on their own 22. But I do think it's going to be a disallowed try here. It's very hard to know what direction the ball was supposed to be going, but there he does knock it on, I believe, Watakallant. Under 20 is cold. Says Gareth. Currently, at the moment, we are sitting 8 degrees where we are here in New Zealand. Afternoon, Chad and Hamish. There's Jimbo. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are keeping very well. No way that try can be awarded. Yeah, it was just too scrappy in that little moment, wasn't it? For both teams. Like, I think it will be a knock-on against Glasgow that they'll then go back for. But then it was knocked on by Watakallant, which will be no try. Oh, now this is interesting. It's actually... Wait, so they're saying there's 2 knock-ons. Are they trying to say both of those are against the Stormers? Because if so, that means that Glasgow will have the scrum feed here, and I don't think that's quite correct. I think that Glasgow knocked it on first, did they not? Yeah, it's going to be a Stormers scrum. Okay, that makes more sense. Try time, says earlier Moses. Very close to it, but sadly, try being disallowed there. Hi, Hamish. Greetings from Swanko Mund in Namibia. Love your channel. Says Bruno. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, so it's going to be the Stormers ball here because of the first knock-on in the tackle. So it is still 0-all between these two sides, but we almost saw a brilliant try from Lilian Zas. Now the scrum. Both of these 4 backs well over that 900 kg mark, like I mentioned earlier on. They'll be looking to throw that wait around, and we've got another scrum reset. Andrew Brace saying that they're getting a little bit too far ahead of him when it comes to the scrums. Just wants a bit of stability. Hasn't had a huge amount of it throughout the early stages of this contest. I should mention anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are going to be back for the 2 games later on tonight. The Sharks taking on Munster. That is the next contest that will be taking place. And then alongside that, we are covering the match between Leinster and the Lions. Now, the Lions come in as one of the bigger underdogs of this weekend in the URC, but they will be well and truly up for the challenge of trying to remain undefeated and take down the also undefeated Leinster. That penalty does go against the Glasgow Warriors scrum yet again. This time Frans Malaharba, the big man who wins the penalty for his side. Marnie Libok, though, he will kick this one towards the touchline. 25 minutes through. And Frans Malaharba scrum breakfast. You got to love our South African fans on your channel. Sears Clinton. Yeah, I feel like we've found, like, in terms of most of the countries that play, we have some loyal fans from those countries, and South Africa and New Zealand definitely are 2 bigger markets that we have on the channel and the fan bases that we've got, which is sometimes interesting when they're playing each other, but overall, I feel like we've got a very good chat. Now getting ready to throw this one in, it is Andre Hugo Fenta. And Leinster and Lions will be a good game, can't wait, says Outlaw. Yeah, I feel like some people are maybe ruling out the Lions a little bit, but I think that they're going to be well and truly up for the challenge. It's just dependent on how they travel, I would say, because we've got to remember they won by 1 point last week. And that was up against a side that other teams have beaten by quite a margin, you know. But I'm still hopeful it will be a great game. Welcome back, Marnie Libok. Says Sakele there. Kick from Kyle Rowe, not quite getting the distance on it that he would have liked. So Stormers in a great position on the field to be able to mount an offense. I agree, Hamish says Outlaw. Getting ready to throw this one in. Andre Hugo Fenta, they are 22 metres out from the line. Nicely claimed by Schickerling. Now Paul de Vet across to Willemse. Good step from him, but he's dropped the ball. It's gone backwards though. So it will be play on. Fenta now. Oh, penalty goes the way of Glasgow. In off their feet. That is actually against Marcel Tennyson, his second penalty in quick succession. And Munster didn't. They were bashed by Zebre. Well, that's the thing. Like, the Zebre side are actually quite handy. So Hamish, check the Discord. What's the Accutit description of that? Oh, it might be accurate. You got to love bubblegum on my boots today from Springboks Nude Girls. Bubblegum on my boots today from Springbok Nude Girls. Is that the name of their group? Because if so, I can't tell whether that's a great name or a bad name. You know? So, check the Discord. Which one am I looking for? What one am I looking at? Gareth? And Tennyson giving away the same penalty. Come on. Says Grant, and Zebre has improved, says Outlaw. That is true. And I feel like Italy as a whole are going to be a little bit more tricky to beat. And Spotify, it's an old South African rock band. Oh, Henko Fenta will make his way onto the field. That is for Matt Fagerson. That's a very early change. So you'd have to assume that is for an HIA. Oh, the Kiwi lads, that's good. My bad. I was looking at the other one. Oh, this is about the weather. Yeah, I call it overcast. Someone needs to get rid of that tree to really see the sky. But yeah, I'd say it's overcast and a bit grey looking. Someone's got their washing out though. That's optimism, isn't it? Is that your washing, Gareth, or is that the neighbours? Now, nice run forward from the Glasgow Warriors. Another offload coming out wide. Kyle Rowe. We haven't seen too much of Consigliere as of yet. I have joined a few fantasy leagues for November, says Sean. And Stormers, you can do it, says Pay the Ghost. What are you paying the Ghost, out of curiosity? What is the Ghost currency? Now, kicked high, and it hasn't really gone too far, but Paul Levette, great seller to dummy, goes to the short side. Ruan now kicks it downfield, and they'll go back for another penalty. This one could be 3 points if the Stormers want it. Springbok New Girls is a South African band from several years ago. Didn't know they still existed, says Stefan. I feel like that's a very strategic name that in nowadays probably would get them a lot more traction. You know? Currently 28 minutes in. And Mani Liboki will kick this one towards the corner. The decision has been made by the Stormers that they want to turn this into 7 points. It's gone right into the corner. That is a fantastic kick from Mani Libok. Getting it right into the corner, 5 metres out, and a chance for a rolling maul to get them some points in this game. I can't believe we're already almost 30 minutes into this contest. Doesn't even feel like it's been 15 minutes. They weren't all that good, were they? Says Gareth. Oh, I will be honest, I couldn't see much of the sky, Gareth, but I could appreciate the little parts of it that I could see. Oh, Andre Hugo Fenta trying to bulldoze his way towards the try line. Almost a little knock on there from Paul de Vet on the ground, but I think he just managed to regather it. Well, players falling all over the place. Damien Valimza practicing his backwards roly-poly. Now going to the right-hand side. Kiki Morabe is going to get close. Still just short. Paul de Vet going to the left-hand side. Edging just that little bit more towards the try line. They've got the penalty advantage as well here. Andre Hugo Fenta taken down 4 metres out. Straight in front of the posts. Can they finish the job? The crowd getting rowdy. Are they about to celebrate the first try of this contest, or at least the first official try? De Vet goes on the outside. Great run from Dan Duplessis. It's knocked on by Waterkalent. And now they will go back for the original penalty. He's running as if he wants to take it quickly. Got the easy 3 if they want it. Oh, they have taken the quick tap. Was he on the mark or was he just off it? I'm not sure. But either way, it is going to be play on. Paul de Vet goes back across. Mani Libok, poor pass, and it's straight into the hands of Josh Mackay. Once again, Glasgow have survived due to a massive mistake from the Stormers on attack. Our most well-known South African band must still be Seether. I will mention I don't know music very well, so I haven't heard of either of the two that have been mentioned. South Africa has great bands like Clout and Cinema. There you go. Oh, kicked. Once again, mistake from the Stormers leads to Glasgow. The ball sits up for him. 22 metres out from the line. It's going to be protected. And it's there for Josh Mackay. They have done so well to keep their ball, although I believe Paul de Vet now gets the penalty. Yes, he does. Hamish, we know your pop culture is 0. No stress. Yeah, pop culture, movies, just everything, actually, I have pretty low knowledge in. Well, that was not great, says Grant. Yeah, a couple really poor errors in a row from the Stormers, and it actually, I would argue, cost them 2 tries there. And that's not good. You don't want that. You want to be scoring those tries in the early stages. Definitely up against a side like Glasgow that they've seen last week in the later stages of the contest just went next level up against the Sharks. You know, flags and rocks. Yeah, which is quite sad, really, isn't it? When you consider there's the whole world out there. But, you know, I guess I stick to what I know. Come on, the Warriors. Says critique. And there as well. But 31 minutes through this match, still 0-0 between these two sides. Rabbit was also a good rock band. Or good band. Rabbit. Interesting name. Cinema Rabbit. Springbok Nude Girls. Go, Libok, go. Says William Moses. And the question is, will the Stormers regret turning down, I believe they've had 2 chances at 3-pointers at the moment, and they've turned them both down. Could those points be the massive difference maker as we move through this match? And which side's going to be feeling more fatigue here? Plush was good. I've noticed a trend. It seems to be, with the exception of the Springbok one from a while ago, it's just one-word bands. Clout, Cinema, unless Clout and Cinema, is that actually their name, like that's 2 different bands, or is that the same band? It might be the same band, possibly. And then Plush, rabbit. You know, they like to keep it short and to the point. Have I been to Stellenbosch? No, sadly. I haven't even been to South Africa, but there's a few places that I definitely would want to go if I do get the opportunity. That's going to be really well taken by Josh McKay. Gets another offload to Jack Dempsey. Another step there from Glasgow, keeping the ball alive. Paul DeVette is a tackling machine. He's made 2 in a row. That's a forward pass there. Jack Dempsey, knock on from Johnny Matthews anyway, but I'm surprised they didn't notice that clear forward pass. Now back to the left-hand side. Out to the left. Marcel Dennison goes to Lilian Zas, inside ball. This is a great chance, but once again tackled on the 22. Kike Morabe goes with the pick and go. Looks for the offload and finds it. 10 metres out. Lilian Zas gets the offload. Paul DeVette skips Morabe, goes to Lebok, off to Ruben van Heerden. This is happening very quickly, ladies and gents. Now off to the left. Ruan Nel. In fact, that's the other Nel who has got that ball. Now going off. What a cunt. Goes with the short ball to Valimza and he gets him straight through, but he's done his dick. Oh, sorry, he's done his groin. Sorry. He's done his groin. Unfortunately, Damien Valimza in the process of running that one. How are you going to put the ice pack? We have some pure shrinkage going on. And DHL Stormers going to win a Rockets band, says Julian Moses. And yes, Valimza Province Rugby. But yeah, just running through and just pulls up lame, puts the hand on the crotch like Michael Jackson and says, ow. Not ideal for Damien Valimza. Stormers are shifting left and right. And man, some pick attack play. We have got there the try. I love you too, says Jonathan Fraser. I hope he's all right, though, because, like, doing a groin sucks. I have done my groin a couple times during cricket. In fact, I did it almost every week, unfortunately, because once you do it once, it just keeps on going. Do you say ice pack or eyes back? Ice pack was what I tried to say, but I probably didn't say it very clearly. And the kick is good. Stormers 7-0 up over the Glasgow Warriors. Damien Valimza the first try. 2024. That wasn't quite the direct quote, I will say. I want to know if he's going to continue in this match, though, for Damien Valimza, because this is a terrible time to get injured. You know? You don't want to... Where is he? Can I see him? My eyesight's not good enough for this. Mani Libok, I see him. He's kicked it into touch. Where is Damien Valimza? Is he still out there? That is the question. We're there too busy at the barn in Wellington. We'll check the scores later. Thanks for the commentary. Okay, just scored, I see. And well done, boys, says Bradley. And Glasgow says Ahmed there. Are you happy with the AB's performance earlier on? I mean, there were some good moments, right? But I do also think that there was still a lot of the same problems that they had throughout the Rugby Championship. That's a great run down the wing from Johnny Matthews. Gets into the 22. We'll come back to that in a very short moment because the Glasgow Warriors are just about to have a great attacking chance. They're running it out wide to the left-hand side. All the defence retreating across. Josh McKay runs over the top of Damien Valimza, who is continuing in this match by the looks of it. Peeing on your enemy's computer is the order of the day in Stelly, says Critique. Right, okay, interesting. Seems like a prank that goes a bit too far. Now, sitting 12 metres out from the line now. George Horn goes across there to Hastings. Oh, beautiful sell. Oh, was that a deliberate knock on? Yes, it was. From Mani Libok, double blow of the whistle. This might be a yellow card for Mani. If Valimza has recovered from the injury, he cannot fade again now, says Stefan. Right, they're checking for the clear deliberate knock-on as the wording of the referee. So that's not good. This could be a yellow card for Mani Libok and a perfect opportunity for Glasgow to get back in. But I am glad to see that Damien Valimza is continuing in this match. Hopefully it's just a little tweak. But yeah, that was really well done from... Oh, there's... Tell you what. It's probably at least... It's going to be a yellow. I don't think they'll call it as a penalty try, but when you see it's Ruben van Heeren, so it's going to be a yellow. It's not a penalty try, though, which I think is good for the Stormers. And here come the cards, says Malo Jacobs there. Mani Liboki will now be off the field for the next 10 minutes, which will take them into the second half. That yellow is harsh. He went for the tackle, not the intercept. Says Grant. Give Mani Libok a red card, please. And bet you Rassi is watching the injury list. We have good there. You have the wrong background, mate. The game is in Stellenbosch. Certainly is. We have explained that already. That we just went with Cape Town because we already had it in the software. And then also the fact that it's the normal Stormers home ground. But we have clarified that it is at Stellenbosch for this contest. And it's a great background atmosphere as well. They've got the same kind of environment, I guess you could say. A lot of Stormers supporters absolutely loving this game. 5 metres out from the line, though, for the Glasgow Warriors. Damien's day is done, says Grant. Now looking for this rolling maul here. They're going to be able to get over the line. That's the question. They're only just short of the line, and Johnny Matthews now finishes the job. But yeah, Damien Valimza not taking any risks with that injury. I would say that the coach probably got a direct call from Rassi Erasmus saying, you better not lose me, Damien Valimza again. Johnny Matthews scores the try for Glasgow, and they are now back into this game. He might not be a contender for Player of the Year, but money is certainly the centre of attention every week. Says Jimbo. Stellenbosch, 20 minutes from Cape Town, Winelands. Was with the disallowed try, what happened to advantage, says Cornelius. So because it was a knock-on from the Stormers after they knocked on the ball from Glasgow, that is where advantage disappears. So because the Stormers knocked it on as well as Glasgow, that is why it goes back for the original scrum, and that's why the Stormers had the ball in that scrum, if that makes sense. So pretty much, if Glasgow had knocked it on, it would have been play on, or at least under knock-on advantage, but because Wada Kalant also got it and dropped the ball forward, that's where the advantage dies. Looks like Henko Fenta back off the field, so that'll be for Matt Fagerson returning from his HIA. Now Hastings to line up the kick. He hasn't struck it the cleanest, but it's going to come round quite nice. And it has gone over 7-all now between these two sides. And come on, boys, says Bradley. Just a strong rolling maul. Franz Malharba trying his best to be able to hold it out. And then Johnny Matthews eventually just bundling over the try line to make this game that little bit closer. It's going to be 1 minute left of this first half. Mani Libok, another 7.5 minutes remaining of his yellow card. Last thing that the Stormers want just at this moment in time. In fact, with Damien Valimza also off, who's the kicker now, I wonder? So it won't be Mani Libok because he's off the field for the next 7 minutes. And it won't be Damien Valimza. Oh, that was almost the ball for Lelian Zassi. He was almost able to score straight off kickoff. Now George Horn. Looks like he will be kicking this one from just inside of the Glasgow 22. And it's just a fine touch. The Stormers will have themselves another line out. Wada Kalant, does he do any goal kicking? Who else have they got? They brought on Hudsonberg, so he won't do the kicking that I know of. So I guess it would be... Oh, is it Halant or is it Paul DeVette who does the part-time kicking for the Stormers? I can't think of which one it is. Do let me know, Grant. I'm sure you'll know. Now, nicely claimed by JD Schickerling. And come on, Mani Libok, second half, show us the money. Says Blues Naden, welcome in again, mate. You have been keeping well. Nice rolling maul here for the Stormers. They have made maybe about 15 metres, if not 20, off this one. Now Wada Kalant goes across to Lilian Zas. There was a knock-on from the Stormers right on the verge of halftime. In fact, it is going to be halftime. Kalant will do the kicking, but I want to see Malharba do it, says Grant. I would pay money to watch Franz Malharba attempt a kick. The thing is, I feel like it would actually be better than anticipated, though. You know? I think this deliberate knock-on rule is a load of crap. Award the penalty. Yellow card is a bit harsh in my opinion, says Neil Harvey. See, that's the thing. Like, in rugby league, right? And I know that people hate the comparison. of rugby league and rugby union. But rugby league, I believe, have it a lot more right than union does, because in rugby league, it's just a knock-on. You can slap it away, you can do anything with it. And yes, it's deliberate, but at the same time, like, I get why you're not allowed to, but at the same time, it does seem weird that you're not allowed to slap it away if it will stop a try-scoring chance, If that makes sense. I feel like I described that extremely poorly. Bulls won last night. They did indeed. Close game between the two sides. Money must forget about the honeymoon and start thinking rugby, says Clinton. In the morning, Hamish from Blues Nate as well. Yeah, hopefully you are keeping well, Nate. We haven't seen you too often in recent times, but of course a lot more international rugby coming up very soon. So we might see you popping in and out throughout those matches. While we are at it though, during this halftime break, we might as well get a few stats about this first half. We saw the one try being scored by the Stormers from Damien Valimza, but at the cost of his groin, unfortunately, which then means that he has been taken from the field, has to be punished or everyone would do it, says Jimbo. But I get why it has to be punished, but I also, at the same time, with the exception of stopping the chance of a try, I'm trying to work out the best way of describing it, but I get that you shouldn't do it, but I don't also have a problem with doing it, if that makes sense. Because, it's going to kill the momentum of a move, right? But the opposition are still going to have the attacking scrum. They're still going to be in a great position on the field. So, maybe if it's inside of a 22, it's understandable. But, the ones like we saw for Villy LaRue, how he got one when he did a deliberate knockdown on the halfway line, those type of ones I am a bit more against, if that makes sense. David Creel is becoming a good kicker for the Bulls. Says Outlaw, and thanks, Julian. They managed to scrape through. Says Critique. Yeah, currently a very close one. Previous years, it was a knock-on only. I think up till... When was it that they changed that rule? It was only a few years ago, wasn't it? That it ended up becoming something more than... because that's the thing as well. It's still a penalty. You still get a deliberate knockdown penalty against you. It just seems like a harsh thing to get a yellow card for. But then I guess they consider it as a significant, cynical foul. Someone just swore at Johnny Matthews when he scored that try I just heard, which was an interesting one. Do love a bit of swearing. But what we will do is we do also love a bit of stats, so we will find the stats from this contest. Currently, these two sides have been relatively even throughout this first half. The stats are also in that same boat. We've seen 54% in terms of the possession for the Glasgow Warriors. They've had 5 clean breaks compared to the 4 of the Stormers, and 16 defenders beaten compared to the 11 that we've seen for the home side. 13 offloads coming from Glasgow. So their goal here in this first half was to keep the ball alive and try and create some attacking opportunities. And they've done that relatively well throughout the contest so far. Been good, Samish. I'm busy with works in the far now, plus footy finals. Good to see you, Chief. See you at Blues, Nate. Footy final, because are you still, was that your team's finals, Nate? I assume it was. But, yeah, hopefully your season has been going quite well. The cricket season here in New Zealand has recently started up. I actually got selected for the highest team in the local area. But then it rained, so I never got to play. So I don't know whether or not I'll get selected next week as well. But I at least made the team once to then not get to play. So that's something, I guess. And Glasgow would be the happier of the two teams. The Stormers butchered 2 tries. Says Grant, that is very true. Unfortunately, just making too many mistakes when they were on hot attack. There was that pass from Mani Libok that didn't work out. There was the decision-making when they were just out in front of the posts. We've seen 6 penalties against the Glasgow Warriors compared to the 5 against the Stormers, but one of those 5 against the Stormers led to the yellow card of Mani Libok. In terms of a few of the other interesting stats, we've seen 3 defenders beaten for Johnny Matthews as well as Mani Libok, and then most meters made has gone to Mani Libok for the Stormers, Johnny Matthews having the 35, and most tackles made out of any player was Rory Darge with 10. Most by a Stormer was Ruan Nell with the 7th. We have got their Morena brother. Cynical disruption of free-flowing rugby. So it's contrary to modern rugby designs, I guess, says Jimbo. Yeah, like the way that I described it before in terms of like it's something to, like you said, it's cynical, which is the unfortunate part because for me, it doesn't seem as serious as like shoulder charging someone to the head. But then at the same time, I guess it does the same thing in terms of trying to stop the flow and what happened to putting the ball in straight at the scrum. I agree. Sometimes it seems like they're just giving it to the number 8 at scrums, but then every once in a while they say they're going to check it and then they just never do. So, yeah, I don't know. There are certain rules that seem to be much more enforced than others, I will say. Thanks for the commentary on the long road from Zambia to South Africa, and you're keeping me company, Leka, says Jaco Vandenberg. How long is the drive from Zambia to South Africa? I'd assume it would be a pretty long one, Jaco, so hopefully the weather's not too bad and you're enjoying some sunshine and a little bit of breeze or something so that you don't get too hot while driving. Well, hopefully you're not the one driving. Hopefully someone's driving for you. Got knocked down in the semi-finals, Hamish, did my ankle. Hello, I'm good. Because what injury did you have at the start of the season, Nate? Was it your ankle as well? Because if so, then hopefully that ankle isn't too badly damaged. Hello, Kiwi Lad. Don't think Stormers will win this, says Jacques World in there. And I'm going to quickly check the odds in terms of what people think is actually going to be the result of this game. I know that the Stormers came in as favourites. As for the cynical nonsense, this is, does it even mean deliberate? Says Neil Harvey. Yeah, like it's one of those ones that it's one of the softer cards I think you can get in a game of rugby. Like it's one of those ones that, yeah, like I said, rugby league don't do that rule the same way that rugby union does. Re-injured the same ankle. Ooh. So hopefully it's not, well, I'd assume it's kind of serious if it's the same ankle. After seeing Argus name in one hand play last week, I don't think one hand should be the basis for the deliberate rule, says Jimbo. That's probably a fair take as well. A drive from South Africa to Zambia is a few days or a 3 or 4 hour flight. A few days, though. That's a drive and a half. I'd assume the scenery would have to be quite nice, though, to drive that far in a straight... Well, it wouldn't be a straight line, would it? It would be curved, I would assume. Currently very even. So the Stormers are slight favourites, ladies and gentlemen, by like a little tiny bit. And pretty much they're saying that the Stormers will win by 1 point in the one that I'm looking at. What do you think about the fake red cards against the Bulls? Says Outlaw. I honestly haven't watched those ones too closely yet. I think that was one of the games, unfortunately, I did miss from that round. I know it was Johan Robela, I think, that got the card, but then it got dropped down, and now he got selected for the Springboks due to injury cover of Jan Hendrik Vessels alongside Wilco Lowe. I meant Outlaw. And Sharks will win today. And 40 degrees and about 24-hour drive. Phew. How far through the drive are you, Jaco? Are you a long way towards it, or are you still in the early stages? Because we are going to be live for another 6 hours or so, or maybe 5.5 hours, which means that, you know, hopefully we can help make the drive go a little bit quicker. The weather looks really nice, though, at the moment for Stellenbosch in this contest. Like I said, these two sides very even. Glasgow having a couple more, I guess you could say that, well, that's the thing. The Stormers had more chances, but they weren't clinical. The Glasgow side, I think they had the better line breaks than the clean breaks and defenders beaten. I think all those stats were in their favour, but they didn't make the most of it. They only scored 1 try because they also did butcher the opportunity to score. The Stormers must pull up their socks and play rugby, not watch our Glasgow play. Come on, the Stormers, says Colin Brown in there. And nice to hear, brother Grant. Same here, we're good, my bro. Says Blues Nate there as well. Playing a little bit of, I don't even know what genre of music that is, but it's kind of like not quite dubstep, but it's like, is it trap? Is that what it's called? I'm not hip with songs and music and whatnot. Did I just sound like I was like 65 from that statement? The next game, ladies and gents, the next one will be taking place in 1 hour, 15 minutes time. That is between the Sharks and Munster. We will also be covering that game on the channel. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Then the game straight after that, it will be Leinster versus the Lions. Another massive game for the URC sides. In terms of the current table in the URC, this is how it sits, ladies and gents. So if the Stormers win this game, they can move up to 7th. If not, or with a bonus point, they would actually move up to 6th. Now, if the Glasgow Warriors win this game, they will move from 4th to 2nd. And there is a chance that they could remain in 2nd depending on what happens for the Leinster versus Lions fixture. The next time that these two sides play, it's in a little while. Sharks are going to be going head-to-head with the Stormers. That is in early December and late November for you guys in South Africa. And then the Glasgow Warriors have got the Scarlets. That is in about 34 days' time. So a little while till we get to see the sides back in action. So you want to finish your URC part of the comp on a high. And that is exactly what these two sides will plan to do. But they're now making their way back out onto the field. I swear that wasn't the whole halftime break. That felt like it went by very quickly. But possession 55% for the Glasgow Warriors. They've made less tackles, 55. The Stormers making 67%. 67 tackles in total. Meters made pretty even, only 15 meters difference in favour of the Glasgow Warriors side, but they did concede one extra penalty, so we'll see whether or not that plays factor in the later stages of the game as well. But tackle success have actually been pretty low for both of these sides. 66% for the Stormers and 69% for Glasgow. That's one of their lowest numbers they've had throughout the URC, I believe. Surely given a yellow on the pitch and upgrading to red afterward is necessary, or if necessary, trumps a red given on the pitch, which is rescinded later, says Jimbo. Yeah, see, it's interesting how it can change, like in terms of what cards can switch and whatnot. And I feel like that rule is going to get changed probably again at some stage, just because there are certain laws that they are forever trying to switch and make that little bit better. But it never looks good when it's like a card is given on the field and then they go, oh, sorry, we got that wrong. So I think that's why they brought in that yellow to make it a red type of rule, you know? Looks like Xander Fagerson, he has made his way onto the field. That is for Talakai. Gray is off. And Cummings is on. Good take there from Josh McKay under the high ball. 40 metres out from the line here. Glasgow going off to the left-hand side. Looking to pass this one across field. Dash is heavily involved in those breakdowns throughout that first half. Now going on the outside to Kyle Rowe. Sees the ball from Consigliere. Some refs are really bad. Sees Outlaw. I guess they're like rugby players. They'll have the good games, they'll have the bad games. And unfortunately, like, it's one of those jobs that not many people are putting their hand up to want to do because, you know, the backlash you get from being a referee is pretty bad overall. It's going to be a kick downfield from Watercalant. Now looking for the step. Oh, on the short side. Maybe just stayed in the field. No, had the foot on the line. And it's going to be now the line out for these Stormers. This pitch is looking very dry in certain spots at the moment. Going to see it here. Adam Hastings just decided to try and back himself on the short side and then had that foot dig into the turf. Made it nice and easy for the ref to see that he was out. URC ref levels are definitely below par this season, says Jimbo. And the biggest thing is, I think it could be like the Rugby World Cup in some regards, or like the lead up to the Rugby World Cup, because we were in a time with refereeing how everyone knew that at some stage throughout that World Cup, the referees, unfortunately, were going to change a game, right? And I feel like they had multiple games that they did change throughout that World Cup. And I feel like the URC, people are getting that same kind of feeling of, it's lucky we're in the group stage matches, because if we weren't, then there's going to be a big call, similar to what we've seen over the last few weeks, that can really shape a season. That ball has been lost by Glasgow, but I think it was a knock-on from the Stormers as well, was it? No. In fact, it was knocked on by Glasgow that time. Handling errors so far, the Stormers have had 6. Glasgow have had 4. Paul DeVet is about to feed this ball into the scrum just inside of their own half. Now, Marnie Libbok still has another 3 minutes where he won't be able to return to the field. The new front row, or at least one of them in that Glasgow front row, was Xander Fagerson. Going up against Brock Harris for the second half. Oh, Andrew Brace not happy with the front rows. He's starting to get really annoyed with them. He's just asking for a little bit of patience. They keep trying to go a bit ahead of him at this point. Just told Franz Malharba to not stand up in the front row either. I feel like scrums are becoming harder to manage as well throughout the URC. That's one thing that I've noticed in terms of comparing it to, the Rugby Championship, or in terms of a few of the other competitions. Like, scrums have been a lot more scrappy. There's not many scrums now for the United Rugby Championship that we don't have a scrum reset first before getting into the actual scrum. But there is going to be the free kick now for the Stormers, so they are able to kick this one downfield or take the quick tap. They are going to go with the up and under. Kicking it downfield. Lilian Zas manages to slap it back infield. And there's going to be the knock on from the Glasgow Warriors. Really flirting with danger there for What a Calant. Putting it right next to the sideline and hoping that Zas was going to be able to shut it down and slap it back onto the side of the Stormers, though he really had no one with him if he was able to retain it. Right, they've just set about trying to get those scrums right. No issues in the setups. Only 35 minutes left in this game. Of course, the next one, Sharks versus Munster, happening at about an hour and 8 minutes time, when that one is going to be starting. Now getting ready to go for the big push here, but they're going backwards. Massive scrum from the Glasgow Warriors. And they are fired up about that one, pushing the Stormers pack backwards. The impact of Xander Fagerson, that one change in the front. And also, I think they made the change on the other side as well. Got rid of Jamie Batty and instead having the experienced header Rory Sutherland. Now kicking that one towards the touchline. Marnie Libbok only 20 seconds away from being able to return to the field. In fact, he might be able to come back out on now. Well, not quite. He has to wait for this line out first by the looks of it. And that's going to be nicely claimed by Cummings. Now Hastings goes to Tui Palotu. Ball to Dempsey. Missed tackle from the Stormers. Leads to a few extra metres being made. Great work over the ball for Nell, though. Although he got the clean turnover. So it will be play on. Almost had the penalty. The Stormers opt to go for a little bit more on the attacking. What a Calant goes across there to Schickerling. Looking for the strip of the ball, and it has worked out for Glasgow, and they have stolen it from the Stormers once more. Johnny Matthews goes across to Xander Fagerson. Kiki Morabi makes the tackle around his bootlaces. Horn looking to the short side, goes again with a good attack and run from Glasgow. Horn cross to the left. Xander Fagerson already bringing a bit of an impact since making his way off the bench. Passing back Cummings, quick hands, Hastings finds Cancellieri, chipped in behind. Tui Palotu wins the foot race, and he scores the try for the Glasgow Warriors that will give them the lead. Stormers tackled Emmett, says Henry, and greetings from Jakarta in Indonesia, says Frederick. Welcome in again, mate. Cancellieri with the little chip in behind, finding the open space, and the Glasgow Warriors are able to strike again. Just going to see the replay there. Cancellieri, I think that was What a Calant, was just caught in no man's land. Well, that was less than ideal. It's probably a decent way of describing it. Yeah, Calant just kind of sat there waiting for Cancellieri to get to him, and then he put the chip in behind his head, And then Mani Libok having to try and cover from right across the field did not work out. I should also mention at the start time, ladies and gentlemen, of the Sharks versus Munster game, the UFC 308 is going to be starting. So I have the question, is anyone a mixed martial arts fan? Is anyone going to be watching that card? Of course, the main event, Holloway versus Taporia, or as Conor McGregor called him, Toporo, and said he would bap him. That man's live streams, even though it's not ideal, they are very entertaining. Cannot be denied. Hastings, he's got another one. That is a great kick from the sideline. And Glasgow are excellent outside, need proper tackles to disrupt them, says Jimbo. And yeah, Lillian Zas just got drawn in off the wing. And then Tui Pelotu, I mean, the bounce of the ball, of course, was perfect for him to sit up like that at the beginning of the end, says Jekyllsworld. Although still 31 minutes left, we've got to remember Glasgow losing Damien Valimza and Mani Libok at the same time did hurt them. Libok was back on the field, though, at the time when Glasgow scored that one, but we do see Glasgow get better as a match wears on. One's gone in touch. Watercalant decides that he wants to take it quickly, receives the ball back from Mani Libok. Going back across to the right-hand side, Ruben van Heeren. Oh, ball is stripped there and knocked on by Paul de Vet. Just a few too many errors coming from the Stormers, and you can see the frustration. De Vet is not happy. I think he's just asking the question whether or not it was ripped forward by Glasgow, and you could argue that it was, although I believe that would be similar to the Umbanambi try. How they said that it was ripped forward, not a knock-on. Hi, how are you, says Mikhail. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. I'm doing quite well. First match of 3 of the URC that we are covering. Already covered All Blacks versus Japan. Ended up being a high-scoring game. This one, I feel like it's going to be a lot closer than that contest. But till 2 great games later on that are also taking place. Just showing there that Damien Valimza try, pulling his groin in the process. Johnny Matthews managing to score the rolling maul try for the Glasgow Warriors. And then the other try was scored by Sione Tuipulotu, the captain of this Warriors side. There'll be another scrum here for the Glasgow Warriors. Franz Malaharuba taken off the field. That is for Nedeling Fouchier. Stormers attack very error-prone. This is not the first game, says Stefan. I think that probably was about their 7th handling error. Something along those lines throughout this contest. Just the kind of number that you can't have. Oh, I thought Andrew Brace was about to give that penalty to Glasgow, but he gives it to the Stormers at scrum time. Rather late than never. Good afternoon, everyone, says Rio. Welcome in. Of course, still 2 more massive games happening later on, so we will get to see you possibly on those ones as well. But I feel like you've come in for the right moment because 30 minutes left. This is when both of these sides start to get that little bit more momentum in their favour. See whether or not the Stormers can work their way towards a bonus point. Glasgow, they will be looking for one as well. Mani Libok, another fantastic kick into the corner. Do you do live commentary of every match? We do as many as we can. So, normally we'll have anywhere between 3 and maybe 9 commentaries for a weekend, somewhere around there. Like next weekend, there's only 3, but that is only because there's 3 games that are taking place. The weekend after that, I think we're probably covering about 6 or 7. Brilliant kick, Mani. Need to make this one count, and it's nicely thrown in by Andre Hugo Fenter, not making that change of Joseph Dweber as of yet for the Stormers. Now, Hugo Fenter goes off the back. Tackle well, advantage for a high tackle going in favour of the Stormers. Here they come. 10 metres from the line. Paul de Vet, another advantage, this time for offside. Back-to-back infringements from the Glasgow Warriors, giving away 6 penalties in the first half. This could lead to a card if they keep on infringing. Watercalant, I think he made the wrong decision there. He's tried to flick it out the back door, panicking a bit on attack. He's still smiling about it, but he's made some poor decisions throughout this game, unfortunately, Watercalant, but it's nice to see he's got a big old necklace on at the moment. And the Bulls pushed hard for a good win last night. Rugby definitely an 80-minute sport. Remember to drop a like, guys. Says Rudy there. Good day, Hamish and all. Finish the work. Can you scroll the teams? Says Eric. One moment. We will quickly put up the teams for you. For the Stormers, I will mention Damien Valimza has gone off the field. That is due to a groin injury. So that has brought Hudson-Berg on. Also in their front row, they've made the change of Malharba off. And they have got Nettling Foucher on. They've also got Nell on in that loose forward trio. I think that was for Ben Jason Dixon. They're just talking about how many penalties in a row Glasgow Warriors have been given away. This is their lineup, although they have also made changes. Sutherland's in at number 1 now. In that number 3 jersey, they have gone to Xander Fagerson, and then also they had a moment where they had another change in that loose forward trio. We saw Henko Fenta come on. He is back off now, but they did make the change of Cummings onto the field for Gray at halftime. I think that's all the changes that have been made. Hopefully that was a decent summary. Thank you, appreciate it, no worries. Hi, Sing Zombie by Cranberries. I think if I tried to sing, you'd want to turn the live stream off straight away because I cannot sing to save myself, unfortunately. Now, going to be offloaded back. Nettling Foucher gets within a couple meters of the try line. Now back across to the right-hand side, trying to push his way over. Well, that's an awkward breakdown. I think almost penalised there was Xander Fagerson, but it is going to be play on. Here's Dan Duplessis, still only 3 metres out, but they are working their way towards the post. Kiki Murabi. Another good pick and go from him. Couple metres out. Stormers trying to use their forwards, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do a big backline movement here in the very short moment. Trying to bump his way over. Once again, 2 metres short for Murabi. They are short again. This is getting a little bit scrappy there, trying to find the ball where the Stormers forwards. That is close again, just short of the try line. Paul DeVette goes across to Marnie Libok. The wide skip pass to Dan Duplessis, who cuts on the inside, then steps outwards and scores the try for the Stormers that they needed to get back into the game. For some reason, I got a notification just then telling me that there is tennis on. I don't even know who is playing in the tennis. Oh no, now it's disappeared. That was weird. But Dan Duplessis has got himself his 6th try of the URC. Yes, Skip, says Grant there. Hello, Rhea, says Jackal's World. And there as well. And there we go, the Stormers, says Rhea. You might have been their lucky charm, Rhea. You arrived probably about 4 minutes ago, and since then, they've had pretty much all attack. Dan, you know how, says Henry, and there as well. But Joseph Dweber now coming onto the field. Does that mean that the line-out accuracy does drop for the Stormers? We'll have to wait and see. I felt like Andre Hugo Fenta overall had a pretty solid game for the Stormers in this match. How many matches are today? So the next one is Sharks versus Munster. That is in 55 minutes time. And then there is one more after that that we're doing between Leinster and Lions. And that is kicking off in about 3 hours time. So we've got 2 more matches happening later. Kick has gone over from Marnie Libok, which now makes the score 14 all. Between these two sides, it's going to be a close one, going down to the wire. But both of these sides will still want to chase 2 more tries to get them in the position of a bonus point. Well taken by Dan Duplessis inside of the 22. Hamish, stop your Dweber slander. Okay, I will behave, but if he misthrows his first line out, we're going to have to say something, aren't we? In fact, I want you to say something, Grant, if he gets the first line out wrong. Cross kick attempted by the Stormers. Great hands on that one by Adam Hastings. Almost turned over for the Stormers. Ruan now asking for the penalty, but sadly just didn't quite have his hands on the ball. And done it, Stormers. Says Shahid, inside ball from Cummings, finds Dempsey. Dweber trying to get in the breakdown. Now kicked him behind again here, this time by Adam Hastings. Oh, that was close to a 50-22. I think it will be the Stormers line out. Here we go. Joseph Dweber, the ball will be in his hand. It was taken back into their own half, so that is why it is not a 50-22. We are ready for the first line out of the day for Joseph Dweba. Are the Stormers the only side who have cheerleaders in the whole URC? In fact, are they the only side in rugby that have cheerleaders? I'm trying to think of another side and I can't think of too many. That is a good throw from Joseph Dweba. Straight as an arrow, that one. Now, Kiki Morabe hits it up. I cannot fathom why the Stormers keep playing Dweba, says Daryl Roberts. I mean, he's got a lot of good attributes. Like, he's strong with the ball in hand. He tackles hard. He wins turnovers in the breakdown. It is just the one big fundamental of a hooker that he sometimes gets wrong. All South African sides have cheerleaders? Do they? I've never seen the other side's cheerleaders that I can think of. Maybe it's more that at the Stormers games they concentrate on them a little bit more. And they're wearing yellow, so that kind of makes them stand out. I quite like yellow. But now George Horn going to the left-hand side across the Kyle Road. Dweba gets it in straight, and he's also won the turnover penalty for the Stormers there, Dweba. Marnie Libok takes the quick tap and drops the ball. So very lucky for them. The referee's going to say he wasn't on the mark and that they can go back for it. Dweba's muscles get in the way of his thinking. Dweba heard you guys, says Rudy Duplessis. Yeah, I think we jinxed him in a good way here. He's had two really good moments in the last little while. And what is a 50-22? It's pretty much kicking it from inside of your own half and having the ball bounce and then go out inside of your opposition 22, and then you get to retain the line out throw. So one of the newer rules that they've got for rugby union. Crowd having a lot of fun by the looks of it in the stands. Loving the music, loving the atmosphere of the game. 22 minutes remaining here. Looks like a couple more changes will be made. Herschel Yankees will make his way onto the field. Apologies to Big Joe Hamish. Apologise to Big Joe Hamish. I will if he doesn't cost them the game later on. That's the rule. I honestly, like I said, he did really well in the breakdown there. Managed to get himself the turnover. Glasgow need the final 20 minutes like last week, says Kerr. And that's the thing. If they play like they did up against the Sharks in the later stages, they still have the potential of getting 5 points here, which would be absolutely massive for them. Puts them into second on the overall standings. I hope you are doing very well, Kerr. Which country are you in today? I feel like I need to ask that every time we haven't seen you for a little while. I want to try and guess, but I'll probably get it wrong. I would say like USA and Miami, just because you've been there a couple times, but you could also be in like Europe somewhere. So I'm going to say like Norway. It'd be cold though. I don't know if you could get a ship through Norway, could you? Short ball, oh, that's going to be a knock on there from the Stormers. Ooh, is there a tackle without the ball? Bizarrely currently in Scotland at home. A first time in a long time. That should have been well, actually, no. The fact that you aren't normally in Scotland probably makes that a trickier guess, doesn't it? Oh, another sub being made. Schickling off. Andre Smith makes his way on. But yeah, I hope your package hasn't got lost. Just because nothing's shown up at the door, which is not ideal. All our Super Rugby team had back in the day, says Sakabula. And the Stormers also only really won last week's Munster match in the last 20 minutes, says Daryl Roberts. That is true. It was relatively close. So that tells us this should be a really strong 20 minutes from both sides. Limpopo, South Africa, says Cornelius. Did I just swear? I hope not. That should have been a penalty for an early tackle, says Grant. Yeah, I know the Stormers were asking for one. Andrew Brace in the end says, no, I feel like it has been lost. It was meant to arrive in 7 days, sent it on the 11th. Was it 7 working days? Because even so, that's probably lost. But 7 working days from the 11th wouldn't be as bad. It's still... Can I have a hint of what it was? Like, was it a well-known, like, item that... Like that's a great short pass from Glasgow. And Sione Tuipulotu puts on the afterburners, offloads on the inside. That is a phenomenal try from the Glasgow Warriors, and Consigliere does get the try and the reward, but it's an accessory. Oh, was that forward though from Hastings? I think that might have been. I think that was forward. I think that's forward from Adam Hastings. That's going to be a no try. There's been 2 great tries scored in this game, but both of them have been forward. Tell you what, that was a quick one. Are those 3 pictures of flies? Maybe from Kerr. Blast me. Never forward, says Kerr. Yeah, no, that one has drifted just a little bit forward. And I think the problem was Hastings' hands. The way that he passed it as well made it no side. Yeah, no, that's bad. It's like a metre forward from the other angle. Go the Stormers, says Maven. That is now going to be the Stormers with a scrum. Just a few metres to your right, Andy, is the comment from the TMO. Just trying to work out exactly where they're supposed to be for this scrum feed. The Stormers, though, they thought it was a try for a start. They were all under the goalpost having a team huddle. Willie Engelbrecht also makes his way on. Stormers take this mistake and win you bad. Bad. Okay. Come on, the Stormers, says Rhea. So Kiki Morabe, he is the player who has gone off for Willie Engelbrecht. And also Adam Hastings, the last thing that he's done in this game is a forward pass. And Hoya Stormer, says Shahid. That's going to be for Tom Jordan. Edge of the seat, Kerr. Accessory. Would a cheer? No, you've already sent a cheer. That's not an accessory. I'm not very good at guessing. I must say Tuipulotu is such a typical Scottish name, says Daryl Roberts. Oh, that's going to be another scrum reset. It looks like this was on Xander Faguson's side of the scrum that they're having a little bit of a problem, or in fact it might have even been the turf. And I got a run now. Headed up to the club for kickoff at 3, says Kerr. Club at 3. Is that like a rugby game? Football? Rugby league? My beer isn't going to last, says Jekyllsville. I was so forward the ball, or so forward the pass. It was so forward the ball pass in front of my TV. There's Johannes. How big's your TV? Because, yeah, it did look like it was quite a few inches forward. So anything over about a 30-inch TV, I would say, might have missed it. 19 minutes remaining, though. This is going to be a close one, going down to the wire, which is exactly what we want when we've got 3 games back-to-back. Next one, Sharks versus Munster, followed by Leinster versus the Lions. Big games. In fact, they were all that big that I could not skip any of them. Tuipulotu was the most exciting back in this year's Six Nations. When he was a good partner, or when he has a good partner in the centre, he's top tier. I'll pay more money to see Vincent Koch take the kicks, says Cornelius. Imagine if they wouldn't, but imagine if there's like a certain league that says you're not allowed the same person taking a kick twice. That would be interesting. So then if you score more tries, you actually punish yourselves, and you got to decide who are the guys that are going to kick. It would never be a thing, I don't think. Maybe we should start our own rugby competition. I don't think we have the funding for that, though, seeing as I can't purchase the broadcasting of these ones. Marnie Libok, that's forward. Now that's going to go back as well. It's rugby league, but England are up against Samoa tomorrow. Are they? Are we up to that stage? I thought that wasn't for a little while. But you could be right. One moment, we'll have a quick look. I thought that was happening at the end of the month. But I could be wrong. I found women, well, like women's league. You know, you're right. England Samoa. That might be worth a watch. I don't know whether we'll cover it on the channel, but maybe we should. Password not forward ref, says Grant. But yeah, we should just make a rugby competition that has that many rules that no one knows what's happening. Yeah, scrum did not work for Glasgow, which now brings Mani Libok a chance to kick for the posts. This is to give them the lead. Someone's got that ear horn going at the ground, and that is before he has even taken the kick. And they have 2 games against each other. The second game is on November the 2nd. So here's Richard. Is that a game that you guys would want us to commentate on the channel? England versus Samoa? Could be worth a crack. Although I haven't covered any like New Zealand Rugby League or anything, but it's just a random game that could be quite cool to watch. That one's going to go over. Now making the score after 63 minutes, 17 points to 14. And Colombia says nil. And there as well. Oh, deciding to kick that one off quickly, Glasgow. And what a Calamp will kick it back downfield, and that is a good kick, but doesn't quite find the touchline. What a kick, Marnie. Says Grant Swart. Great attack and run from the Glasgow Warriors. Missing tackles left, right, and centre here for the Stormers. Now back across, Tom Jordan goes to Sione Tuipulotu. Is that one forward as well? Referee says play on. Kyle Rowe kicks it downfield. Oh, what a try. If that ball has stayed in the whole time, and if that pass out wide wasn't forward, Glasgow have just scored to get into the lead. Oh, hang on. Oh no, they've called it as a try. That's an interesting one. The pass we're talking about here, because some would consider that as a forward pass, but others would say that he tried to pass it backwards and momentum's drifted it forward. But then I don't think that one wasn't any worse than the Stormers one that we saw earlier on. In fact, there was one for the Stormers that was ruled a forward pass that was nowhere near a forward pass in that first half to Dan Duplessis. So that's a bit surprising. That was forward. Come on, says bystander. If Marnie's pass was forward, then Tuipulotu should be forward too, says Grant. Washing my hair that day, says Jimbo. I assume that's for the Samoa-England game. And when Libok's kicks are on song, all the Libok credits are very quiet, says Stefan. And the call was utter poppycock, says Grant. Tom Jordan now lining up this kick. This is right near the touchline in Glasgow. That'll be their 3rd try of the contest. Glasgow have got the conversion as well. And now they're only 1 try away from that bonus point. 15 minutes left though, 4 points difference between these two sides. We knew it was going to be close. We're going to see the replay here. Yeah, see, if they hadn't called the last one that that the Stormers did as forward, then, I don't think people would have been as annoyed about that one. If that makes sense. TMO taking a pee break. And bonus point win, Coke on, boys. I assume that's come on, boys. Who doesn't love a bit of Coke? To the left. Nice run forward from Xander Fagerson. Kneeling for Shear. Making the tackle there, Joseph Dueba. Trying to get that counter ruck going. Oh, it goes into touch. There's not much time remaining in this game. 14 minutes. It's going to absolutely fly by. The first 30 minutes of this game was gone in a flash, but Dobie is on the field for Horn. Now ready for this line out. Joseph Dueba with the throw. Yo, Kerr, how are ya? Says Jimbo. The gifted membership buddies, I guess you could call yous. Although I'm sure you could come up with a much better name than that. But of course there was that battle that took place last year, or earlier this year maybe, right at the end of the... No, it was last year, I think. It was the battle of the gifted... Oh, that was close to not straight. For Joseph Dweber, Mani Libok, that looked close to forward as well, but it is going to be play on now. Official Yankees goes to Marcel Tennyson. Now, Yankees goes back again to Willie Engelbrecht. 40 metres out from the line. They're 4 points down, and they have a lot of motivation to win this game. What a Cuddlant tries the cross kick. Just not really on there. And now kick downfield from Kyle Rowe finds a lot of open space in behind. Oh, but this kick, no, that's a huge in-goal area, so it will not go dead. Money Libok, now only 5 metres out from his line, will look to run it out to the 22. Tries to go through Kyle Rowe, but he is tackled early. And Glasgow thought about the counter-ruck, but they won't quite get the turnover. Now Janchis goes across to Niddling Fouchier. Now Warkalent tries the high kick. This one's going to be chased down by Lilion Zas, who knocks it on. Offload there from the Glasgow Warriors. Tom Jordan, bit loose there. But he's had a good fend. Look for the offload. That'll be in the knock-on, but they go back for the original one. Stormers go break the glass. Says Frederick, there are 3 rugby union games on the 2nd of November, as well Munster versus the All Blacks 15, England versus New Zealand, and Scotland versus Fiji. And the sad thing is, 2 of those overlap, which is really sad, because I would like to cover them all, so we're going to have to work out how we can cover 2 games at once, in terms of getting someone to fill in, hopefully for one of them. My rugby memory only ever stretches back to the last Ireland win, says Jimbo. Ugh. That's a big shot on Marnie Libok by Johnny Matthews. Just flattened him. That replay did show that that pass was a bit forward too. All 4 games overlap, says Richard. And my rugby memory only ever stretches back to the last Irish... Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? My rugby memory, or my chat memory, only seems to extend back to the last time I read that message. And then I forget I did it, and then I read it again. Still 11.5 minutes left in this contest. Still 4 points in favour of the Glasgow Warriors. Are they trying to say that that was late from Johnny Matthews? I think they are. I've said it's all right. So it is going to be play on now. Marnie Libok, he's done well to get straight back up to his feet. Be ready to go yet again. And good flatten him some more, says Bruce. Just said about how the Stormers at the moment, not having Sasha, not having Damien Valimza possibly, if that groin injury is severe. Just Marnie Libok. How's it? Hamish just joined Go the Stormers, says Transient. Yeah, I wonder whether or not we'll get an injury update for Damien Valimza in the next kind of day or so. Whether they have to make a change and bring in someone else. I would say that well, actually, that can be a question. Who would you have as injury cover for Damien Valimza? For me, I'd say either Jordan Hendrickse or Juan Horn. I think are the 2 most likely. In fact, I'd say Jordan Hendrickse. He covers the same positions, roughly. Oh, Xander Fagerson gets dropped there by Lilion Zas, sits him down. Now Marnie Libok goes back across to Warakalant on the left-hand side. In fact, it's right. Willie Engelbrecht goes now. Little kick behind from Hartzenberg, claimed by the Glasgow Warriors defence. Tom Jordan running it forward. Gonna look to send this one downfield. And 50-22 is on, and he has got it there. Great kick from Tom Jordan. I'm not a Libok fan. He's a good player, but taking him off the kicking jobs. He's never consistent. Says Real, although he's done very well in this game. I don't think he's missed too many kicks throughout this contest. Okay, I think Glasgow wanted to take that one quickly. They weren't able to. They've now got 10 minutes remaining, and a try here might win them this game. Away from home, they were able to beat the Stormers in the quarterfinal last year of the URC competition. Now we're at the business end of this game. 10 minutes left. If the next game's anything like this one, we're going to have our hands full and a big treat for the URC today. The next live stream that we are doing will start in 30 minutes time. And then the match is starting in 35 minutes. That water bottle was leaking, and now my shorts are wet. Anyone who's just tuned in now, that's a poor time to come in. But Johnny Matthews throws it in for Glasgow, and it's nicely taken there, going to the short side. Johnny Matthews now cutting off onto the inside. Brilliant run from the big man till he gets nailed by Joseph Dweber. Glasgow only a couple metres out from the try line. Doobie decides to back himself to the left-hand side. Henko Fenta, I think he needed to pass it. Tell you what, he's got over anyway, though. And it will be the try for Glasgow, their 4th of the match. And that has now silenced the crowd. Let's go, boys. You got this. I think Lebok was trying to say that he was taken out off the ball there. Probably had a decent argument, but Glasgow going off to this left-hand side. I thought Hinko Fenta made the mistake. And then maybe he shouldn't have run it himself and instead passed on the outside, but it's worked out well. My shorts are wet. Title of Hamish's sex tape, says Grant. But 71 and a half minutes in now. Oh, are they going to check this one? Is that what we're seeing here? I think they're going upstairs. He's always checking in the background, mate, is the comment. Are they going to look at it? Chris is checking something. Okay, 35 seconds remaining on the shot clock. It sounds like this try will stand. Glasgow now in a position to get 5 points. They do go on to win this game. Munster a must win. And Leinster Lions are last man standing. Definitely exciting day ahead, says Jimbo. Yeah, that Leinster Lions, like, Lions are coming in as huge underdogs, but both of those sides, the only two that are undefeated in the URC so far. The kick from Tom Jordan is good. It's gone over, and that makes the score 28 points to 17. The Stormers want to win it now. They will definitely need a try within a couple minutes. And very good, Glasgow. Amani is consistently inconsistent. They build their hopes in him and then fails under pressure, says Bruce. Now currently 7.5 minutes remaining. Will be Mani Libok to kick this one off. And Glasgow are way too good. It's a walkover, says a Jackal Swirled. Nicely taken by Tom Jordan. The left-hand side they go. Xander Ferguson. It's over for the Stormers, unfortunately, says Sergio. They have been told to use it again there. Just returned from finishing work. Stormers been manhandled. They've been their own worst enemy. Too many errors, unfortunately, for them throughout this game. Or that's another forward pass. They've had about maybe 4 of them throughout this game so far. And every time just takes that little bit more wind out of the Stormers' sail each time that forward pass does end up getting called. Hello, I just joined. If the Stormers bring this back, then you cannot deny that I am your lucky charm, says on the right. And they have still got time. 6.5 minutes remaining is a long time in a game of rugby, but Glasgow don't look like they're done yet. They have finished matches extremely well throughout this URC. Mentioned last week, Glasgow are a huge threat, says Arthur Harrison. Now the scrum about to take place, and it is Glasgow's ball. Will be Doobie to put it in. You got it. Says one Pierre Bosch. And Lebok should take his pension and go to Japan. Says Outlaw. It's going to be fed in. To the left-hand side here for Doobie. Sione Tui Polotu. Get him through the tackle of Mani Lebok. Oh. Tried to milk the offside, and they have managed to milk it perfectly. Lebok was a little bit lazy retreating, trying to go right round the side of the breakdown, and they managed to get an easy penalty from him. Came back to get 2 bonus points from nothing, says Arthur Harrison. That is true. Like, they, up against the Sharks, didn't look like they had any chance. And then to almost come back to win that game was massive for their confidence, but also just because, 2 points could be the difference maker between home quarter, semi-finals. Kick towards the touchline for Tom Jordan there. Then it is 75 minutes gone. And good luck, Bruce. My wife does that with little success. I just rescued a dove in the box now with bread and water. Maybe he lives, says Bruce. Right. Oh, that's going to be nicely slapped away. If it's 2:30 there, Hamish, damn, keep up the good work, sir. It certainly is. Last live stream will be finishing at about 7 a.m, so we've got another 4.5 hours or so remaining of the day. Cheers for this, brother, South African mate. And I are doing some carpentry on our boat in Florida. And this is keeping us well entertained. Come on, the Stormers. Time to start making the chances count. So hopefully, if you're doing some carpentry on your boat, I would assume you're doing it as in like you're doing it on a boat that's on land rather than doing it while your boat is on the water. If so, hopefully it's going well. But yeah, we're here for another 4.5 or so hours on the channel, so hopefully the boat is fixed by then. That is going to be now the penalty going the way of the Stormers. And congrats, Glasgow, great match. The Warriors are looking strong this season, probably watching Braveheart before every kickoff. Says Jedden, we've got the gifted membership from Arthur. Oh, a little bit of argy-bargy, a little bit of push and shove here. From the two sides, Joseph Dweber talking to Matt Fagerson. Or sorry, Xander Fagerson, in fact. Giving the ref a little bat on the back. Yep, mate. We're in the shipyard, fun in the sun, says Nate Dogg. Just showing there's some big shots in that breakdown. Anything to review there for us, Chris? We're looking in the background. I can't do an Irish accent, unfortunately. Maybe one day. 2 tries within 4 minutes, 1 try perhaps, says Sergio. Yeah, that's the thing. They can still cut it down to only, like, losing by less than 7. It's 12:30 here. Feels weird since being here for almost 2 months. But been partying since our Japan win. Can't take them lightly, eh? South Africa says Mr. All-In. Exactly right. And some big November internationals coming around the corner. Just open me dish when Shark in action, Hammy. So the Sharks are going to be playing in 30 minutes time. We are going to be starting that live stream in 25 minutes. So we've got a little tiny break in between these next 2 streams. Time for Dobson to hit the road, says Justin. I'm going to buy more beer. At least it's the afternoon there. You know, rather than it being like 2:30 a.m. like it is here. Mani Libok goes across to Ruan. Now, I'll be honest, we saw him in the first maybe 10 minutes. Then other than that, we've really not seen a whole bunch of Ruan now in this game. Herschel Yankees going back across there to Nedeling Fouchier. Stormers still have a little bit of attacking intent in them by the looks of it. Mani Libok knock on from Warakalant. That'll kill it. And they'll go back for another Glasgow scrum. It has been poor from the Stormers in terms of those handling errors. So many of them throughout this game. It's a good pass. It's straight into the chest of Warakalant, and he's just juggled it and had another fumble. 3:30 p.m. in South Africa, says Rhea. Yeah, the next kickoff, Sharks versus Munster, is a 4 p.m. kickoff for you guys. I'll buy more beer than HJ. Oh, but HJ was still open, so it's time to. Wait, I'll buy more beer, but Hungry Jack's, I assume that is still open. Do you like Hungry Jack's, Mr. All-In, compared to if you've had Burger King? I had a disagreement with Hungry Jack's. Not like literally. I was annoyed because they don't cook the bacon over there to the extent that I think they should. You know, it's kind of still floppy. Got to crispen that bacon up. You know? And Stormers declining. Bulls seem okay. Sharks finding their feet. Let's see what the Lions can do later. While I wait for the Sharks back in half. Says Spider-Mech. Right, 90 seconds remaining in this game. A lot of time being used up at scrum time. Hamish Macca's here is disgusting. I don't actually have Macca's over there during the 10 days I was in Australia. I had Hungry Jack's a few times. I actually went to, I think, 3 different Hungry Jack's because I wanted the bacon to be crispy somewhere. And every single one only just cooked it enough. It was like medium rare bacon, which isn't actually good. Bacon got to be crispy. Yeah. Currently 1 minute left on the clock. Getting ready to kick this one towards the touchline. Yes, good time to get more beer. I think the Bulls are the only South African team winning this weekend. I can't see the Lions or the Sharks winning. You don't like it floppy, says Pie Man. Not my bacon, no. It's got to have a little bit of crispiness so that you know it's cooked. You know, like some of it that we had, we looked at it and we're like, that seems like it's like being microwaved. Gallant has been poor today. Yeah, he's had a lot of mistakes. There's 2 guys, Mani Libok and Warwick Gallant, as bad players, also Yankees. Says Adrian. Now nicely claimed by Glasgow, and they will look to extend here. Get another try, increase that points differential. Could come to hurt the Stormers in the later stages of the games in the URC season. Still hanging on to this one, same rolling maul. Once stop, which does mean, that's going to be an advantage against Nedeling Fouchier full-time siren. Why have you kicked it out? It's an advantage. It's going to be the penalty. They don't realise that. He's confused. He said, but I kicked it into touch, but he didn't realise he had the penalty advantage. So he can take the tap and then kick it into touch here, or you can go for an extra 3. It just seems like a weird way to end. Everyone's celebrating, but the game's not over. The penalty was given. All right, now it's kicked into touch. And that'll be the end of the game now. 28 points to 17. The Glasgow Warriors getting themselves the win. If Macca's had a proper tomato sauce and patty, that didn't taste like it was dipped in water, I would go for that. Hungry Jack's is now my go-to. Even though I'm absolutely hate BK in New Zealand. Says Mr. All-In. And that was disappointing. Says Grant. And big hiding Stormers. Yeah, not quite the result they were after. In fact, now that I think about it, what was the score? No, that's the wrong one. Hang on. Oh, 34-19. For some reason, I thought that this was the same score as last week, but it just wasn't. But 28 points to 17. An 11-point win coming for the away side. Okay, so why do you think the Stormers lost? Too many handling errors. Bit of miscommunication in terms of getting that backline to function. And just, I don't know, just didn't want it enough, I would say. There were too many players out there on the field. I think got a little bit complacent throughout their match, whereas Glasgow, they had a lot of attacking intent throughout their 80 minutes. Definitely in that last 20, they were really trying to push the pace and get themselves the bonus point, which is exactly what they were able to do. But nonetheless, the next game that we are covering, like I mentioned, we will be starting in around 15 minutes time. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. But I do thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one. Sharks versus Munster, just around the corner, followed by Leinster taking on the Lions. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.